Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. Doing something a little bit different. We're going to start working on some card restoration. I've got 3 cards out in front of me right now. These 2 are in pretty good shape. They're just going to get some light cleaning and just do a quick buff. I just want to kind of show you how I do it and what I use. This is kind of like the poor man's tutorial here, just to show that you don't need like the humidor. You don't need to buy the really expensive card restoring cream or anything like that, and just kind of show you what I use. So this is just a little misting bottle. It's 50% water, 50% rubbing alcohol. I use this. It's for sealing leather, but it's just mineral oil and beeswax, which is literally all that's in those containers that they try to sell you for like $50. And then also Q-tips. That's all I use. Just some Q-tips. You can buy the like special restoring pad Q-tips. But again, there's things you don't really need. They're just trying to upsell you. The other thing, I just have this little micro cloth. And this is just going to be to like wipe dust off. This isn't for anything. The only thing you really want to make sure is that you have a very clean microfiber cloth to work on. You're going to use this because you're going to use this to actually wipe any excess wax or any polish off. And then because you really want to make sure you get all that stuff off, because the last step is to get some clamps and either 2 pieces of glass or plexiglass. And I'll show you that process too once we come to the end of the video. But yeah, and so for humidity, I'm just using this. It's a common, this is just a Tupperware you get from like deli meat. And so what you do is you take a cotton ball, you're going to soak the cotton ball, and then you're going to put it into the container and put the card next to it. Now you don't want the cotton ball so soaked that there's water running, because obviously you don't want to get that on the card itself. But and then it takes about as long as it normally takes in a humidor. You're not this doesn't take any longer of a time. So it really just depends on what you're doing. Now these are, so like this card's gonna have to go in for a long time. I don't know, you can see it's got a pretty nasty crease like all the way down the middle of the card, and so we're going to work on that, and that's going to be kind of the main focus of this video, is working on this and trying to get that out. But no, the humidifying the card is kind of the last step to getting those creases out, and then putting it into the clamps, clamping it down, flattening it. And I haven't really looked at the backs of these cards for whitening. This card is in bad shape. This card has been beat up, but they're all binder copies. It's got a bunch of whitening here. Maybe we'll try to, I don't think I'll put either of these in to humidity. I'm just going to clean these ones up, because like I said, they're already in such bad shape. I'm just going to clean them up, and they're going back into my binder, so it's not a big deal. You also want to make sure, if you're doing this kind of stuff and if you're trying to submit for grading and all that stuff, that you get them really clean, and also put them in fresh sleeves. These are probably just going to go back into these sleeves. I do have clean sleeves I can put these in, but they'll probably just go back into these sleeves, because like I said, they're just going back into my binder. I'm just doing these 2 cards as kind of an example of just quick polishing and cleaning and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm going to actually just go ahead and get this guy. You want to clean it too before you do all the humidity and all that stuff, because you don't want those loose fibers. If there's anything on there that's going to get the card, that can get damp and then sink into the fibers of the card, you don't want that to happen. So I'm going to go get this I'm going to pull this guy out of his case. We're going to get him cleaned up and get him in. Oh yeah, here it was all sticky. He'll probably use a different sleeve for that. So put these guys off to the side. And first and foremost, so you don't want you don't want to spray directly onto the card. You just kind of a little bit on that. Make sure it's not super wet, and you're just gonna. You can be kind of, especially with like these older cards, like, and also you really don't have to worry too much about these cards that have this kind of texture in them, because I've recently learned that that's not any type of embossing. That's not like a stamp or anything like that. That's actually micro layers of UV curing resin. Pretty interesting. So we're just going to give this a quick wipe down. It's going to do it for that. Yeah, it's got like a raised edge. I mean, this thing is in rough shape, so if it gets... I'm not worried about damaging this card. And that's the other thing too. If you're not 100% certain about doing this with your own cards, definitely reach out to somebody who is confident in that. So now I've got this card cleaned up. There's not a whole lot I want to do with polishing this card, just because it's harder to get the polish out of the creases. So, and these cards really retain their shininess pretty well. It's not like these older holographics. So right now I'm going to go grab some water, put this in, get this wet, and then that's going to go in the container, and we'll address that later once it's had some time to absorb some of that moisture. And the other thing too is you can kind of speed up that process by using hot water versus cold water. So I'll be right back. And again, you don't want to have so much water that this is going to leak out into the rest of the container, but that's just going to go in there like that. That's going to close up. We'll set that off to the side, and that'll have to sit in there for a while. That'll be, but again, so here we go. We're going to jump right in with Typhlosion. He is looking dirty. I don't know how well you can kind of see those edges. There is a lot of grime built up on these edges. It was crazy. I actually pulled this out of just like a bulk bin at my local card shop. So yeah, again, just a little light misting. I said 50% alcohol, 50% water. Make sure it's not super wet, and you're just gonna very gently see that grime's already coming off. We're already getting that. We're already cleaning up that edge. And you just, just take your time, work around. Yeah, you can already see that edge, getting a lot of that grime off of that edge. We're actually just gonna place this on here so I can. Again, these cards aren't really fragile. They're not. I mean, you can really kind of, work that grime off of there, and you're not going to really hurt the card, especially if they're already damaged. If they're already dirty, you're just kind of wanting to kind of clean it up and make it look pretty for your display, or if you have it in a binder or whatnot. There's, they said you can, I mean, not gonna be super rough with it. I'm not saying get a Brillo pad and scrub it. But especially with these microfiber cloths, they're pretty gentle. There's a big old nasty right there on the back. It does not want to come off. There it goes. And I'm not telling you that like this method is gonna like, you know, don't trust this method for like cleaning up your cards if you're gonna submit them for grading, but I mean, if you're careful enough, you absolutely can. If you really take your time. Now there's guys on the internet, there's YouTubers and stuff like that that will like 100, you know, you can pay them and they'll even crack slabs and they'll so yeah, we're just going to take this. You don't need a whole lot either. And you're just going to put it on like the holographic parts too. You don't need to, so you're just going to and barely work it on there. You don't need to go crazy. You don't need to press really hard. You know, just kind of do little circles. This Typhlosion is such a large picture on the card that not a lot of this is actually holographic, but we're just going to work it in. Set that off to the side. Come back in with our micro cloth and very deliberately. And when you're doing this, you really want to make sure you're moving one direction. You're not really going to be able to notice on this Typhlosion once I'm done doing this, but once I do the Tyranitar, you'll really be able to see it. Yeah, there's a big old gouge right there. It's got divots in it. I mean, this thing's pretty beat up, but Typhlosion's one of my favorite Pokemon. I just wanted him in my collection. You can tell he's definitely seen better days. But, and that's it, man. That's really it. When it comes to, and I could put him in humidity too. He's got a little bit of a divot here. I could clamp him down. But again, it's an already pretty beat up card. I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm just going to put him back into a penny sleeve, and put him back into a sleeve and put him in my binder. So that's Typhlosion done. Next we'll do Tyranitar. But yeah, Tyranitar's up next. We'll handle that next time. Until then, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.